Vice Minister, could you explain some of the macroeconomics of Vietnam?
Just in a nutshell, it's an economy of 225 billion US dollars GDP with a growth rate of 6.7% consistently for the last 2 decades, close to 7% per annum, and we are expecting the growth rate after 2017 would be around 7% and more. And we are having a trading partners with over 150 countries in the world, with a total trade volume of 1.5 times of our, nearly 2 times of our GDP, which is 405 billion US dollars. We are on a fairly balanced trade, 202 export and 205 on imports.
Wow.
So these are the basic numbers.
I didn't realize they had such an open economy, or
Right.
active economy. Can you explain how competitive is the foreign direct investment or other business opportunities compared to countries like China?
Well, comparing with China, it's such a big country, our big neighbor there, but we have certain advantages. This year we are grossing some 28 billion US dollars into Vietnam, foreign direct investments and shares investments, I mean foreign indirect investments altogether. That's an increase of 12% year on year, which is very impressive. And we are being considered as a famous investment destination by multinational corporations, by investors from all over the world, from the 5 continents, especially from US, Europe, Japan, Northeast Asia, Japan, South Korea, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taiwan, of course, the countries in the region. And it's on the increase, and we are considered to be a favorite destination for investment, as I said, and also a favorite destination for business expansion. And people taking Vietnam on competitive human resources supply. We have the Human Development Indicators, HDI, above the world average, given the fact that we are on the lower average of the economy size. So we have very good pool of labor, competitive in price and in productivity. We have in abundance natural resources. We have very good infrastructures in place. We have some over 500 kilometers of highways and good deep sea ports in the north and in the south. And we keep expanding their infrastructures to fuel the economy better. And we have very stable government, very stable society. We have no social unrest, and we have a very clear, transparent legal systems, make it the business environment very friendly to all businesses, domestic and overseas. And there's a very, I have to say, very big ambitious in the government in shifting from the government governing style towards a government that is enabling the society, enabling the businesses. So we are relaxing on regulations on certain areas, and we are leaving more rooms and business opportunities for the private sectors, domestic and overseas alike, to do as creatively as they can, the private sectors. And we are limiting the government intervention into the market, particularly with the downsizing of the number of the state-owned enterprises, as what we call the SOEs. And recently, we just passed on the law for SMEs promotion, which is the first in place, and that would help enabling startups and entrepreneurships to flourish in the country. And that means more business opportunities for both domestic and overseas companies to come into my country. So these are just a few things.
What businesses are currently developed in Vietnam, and what sector would Vietnam like to see developed in the near future?
There's a lot. Virtually everything would be open up for businesses to come and look for opportunities there. I mean, I put it the other way. The government has decided to make investments into areas that are left over, untaken by the private sectors. So virtually everything else is open for the private sectors. And then only when the private sectors don't take on over to do it, then the government will make investments. This includes the consumer business as well as the public services would be open up for what we call the public-private partnerships, PPP, which is getting popular. And there's a huge opportunities there. At the moment, we have the state-owned enterprises. We downsized from over 6,000 enterprises as such, down to just less than 1,000 now. But then the total government asset in those SOEs, state-owned enterprises, is coming up to 3 million billion Vietnamese dongs, which is 160 billion US dollars. So for this, we'll divestiture the government shares in the areas that can be covered and taken up by the private sectors, such as breweries. There's a new thing coming up, so-called Sabeco. Someone might be, who's been in the market would be know. That'd be coming for a big divestitures of the government, up to 400 million US dollars in the near future. So the total government divestitures of shares in SOEs from now till 2020 would be 12 billion US dollars. And then to 2025, that would be another 40 billion US dollars. So we are talking about some 1/3 of the total government assets or shares in SOEs would be made available to private sectors, domestic and overseas alike, to come and grab hold of it. But that means we get back by 2020 some 50 billion US dollars to the government budget, which would be spent on infrastructures. So again, it helps fueling the economy better. And that also means more businesses for private sectors, as the government is confining ourselves to a certain sectors only, to remote areas where businesses are not commercially viable to private sectors. That would mean healthcare, as utilities, electricity supply and generation. We are talking about gigawatts, 5 gigawatts every year need to be installed in the country for the next 5-10 years. So we are calling for mega projects in infrastructures. We are developing highways, some highways and transport infrastructures of 70 billion US dollars in the next 10 years that we need for investments into that. Excellent. So you're all welcome to do it.
There's like a lot of opportunity
to come, but we wanted you to come in a big consortium doing mega billion-dollar projects together, that you come up not individually, you come up with suppliers, with vendors, technology, and investors come up together in a consortium. Right. Then we can handle kind of a tailor-made approach for your projects.
Excellent. And Vice Minister Zhang, we are out of time, but could you let everyone know where you'll be and how long you'll be here today in case they have any additional questions?
So thank you, time flies. I'm going to be around here until 2 p.m. So if anyone wanted to come up to me on one-on-one dialogues, conversation of any special interests of your concern, then I'd love to share with you more in detail. Thank you very much.